What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, as you all know, we got New Year's coming up. That's tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But as, well, I say tomorrow. It's actually a few hours away from now. But, so, on the 3rd, I believe, we've got a speaker vote coming in. And joy of all joys, do you guys remember the last time we had a speaker vote? A lot of people, like the Democrats, were like, oh, how embarrassing is this? This is chaos, just rampant chaos through the Republican Party, right? And it's like, okay, guys, come on, look, we're currently having like a civil war, if you will. You know, we've got the MAGA forces over here are steadily pushing these establishment Republicans out. Yet we're getting a populist movement, and they're taking over the Republican Party. Yeah, the Republican Party is no longer your grandfather's Republican Party, and I almost ran out of breath right there, but luckily I was able to suck some air in. But so we got another one of these coming up, and already, right? Well, we've seen a lot of people coming out talking about, oh yeah, I support Speaker Johnson, blah 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 blah. And I have kind of a nuanced opinion on this. I'm not sure where I land, right? And you might be surprised where I land. As a matter of fact, I've thought about this, but I've got an interesting take, but we'll get into that. We had Thomas Massie come out and say, yeah, he's not so sure. And then followed several other people. As a matter of fact, I've got a Chip Roy clip I want to play for you guys just because, you know, Chip Roy is the man, bro. Chip Roy is my favorite congressman simply due to the fact that he will get out there and rail against everybody. When Congress does garbage work, he comes out and he's like the garbage man. He throws all that away. He just rails and rails and rails against all the stupid spending, all the stupid actions, all the laziness, the incompetence of just anybody and everybody. If you piss him off, you can best believe he's going to the House floor and you're going to have a 25, 30-minute speech of Chip Roy just railing against just whatever, blanket. So I love those rantings, if you will. But let's go ahead and get into this news article right quick because, yeah, we got some stuff to discuss. Check it out, y'all. Mike Johnson's reign as Speaker under threat despite Trump's support. Now, yeah. So some people are coming after Mike Johnson, and for good reason. For very good reason, right? Trump doesn't necessarily pay that close attention to Congress, which I think, in my personal, humble opinion, I think everybody should be focused intently on Congress all of the time, right? Every little thing they do. Not every little thing they do, but, you know, bills, legislation, stuff they say. I think that people, especially if you're a registered voter, you should at least know your congressman, what they vote on, and exactly who they're voting with and what they're voting on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to know these things because these people make the rules that we have to live by. Oh, by God, I want to have a say in that. And with this day and age, with X and social media in general, you can have a say. You can get in touch and reply to some of these people's tweets and tell them, look, no, I'm upset, blah, 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 that's stupid. Don't do this. Right? So you do have a voice these days, which back in the day, you didn't have a voice. Well, the social media is causing an uproar, and I think social media is the main point of contention here, mostly because now that these people can get on social media and see that all this garbage voting that these people are doing, their constituents do not agree with this. But let's get into the story before I rant on forever, y'all. President-elect Donald Trump may have endorsed House Speaker Mike Johnson on Monday, but some Republicans aren't ready to fall in line. While Rep. Thomas Massie has come out strongly against Johnson, other House Republicans are undecided, meaning Johnson may have a difficult time keeping his position. Johnson's role is up for a vote after a new House is sworn in on Friday. Republicans are expected to hold a slim 219 to 215 majority with one vacancy. Democrats are expected to back House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries in a united front, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we know this because they're a cult. As such, it's likely that Johnson can only afford to lose one vote from Republicans due to a couple of vacancies. The situation suggests there could be more embarrassing disarray among House Republicans just as Trump gets ready to take back power. Johnson, of course, only became Speaker last year because of a handful of Republicans decided to oust Kevin McCarthy and Democrats joined them. Yes, that was one of the greatest moments in congressional history, in my opinion. That was the moment, right? That was the moment I knew personally that the establishment was on the decline. They were being pushed out rapidly at that point, and we got Speaker Johnson. I was excited for Speaker Johnson. I don't know about you guys, but you can go to my video archive and go look. Find the video. It's way back there. But you can go find that video, and I'm like, yay, it's Mike Johnson. You know, I watched a lot of congressional committee hearings back then, and Mike Johnson was a hawk on a lot of these topics and a lot of these hearings. And I was like, yes, this guy's going to be good. And then he comes in, and it's the most disappointing excitement I think I've ever had in my entire life. But let's keep going. While the House Republican caucus unanimously backed Johnson as their leader last month, he has faced friendly fire in recent weeks from Trump, GOP megadonor Elon Musk, and the right flank of our party for originally putting forward a large temporary government funding bill that had been negotiated with Democrats. Yeah, that was the main reason. Rep. Thomas Massie has been the most vocal critic of Johnson in the House Republican caucus. I respect and support President Trump, but his endorsement of Mike Johnson is going to work out about as well as his endorsement of Speaker Paul Ryan, he said in a post on X on Monday. We've seen Johnson partner with Democrats to send money to Ukraine, authorize spying on Americans, and blow the budget. And he is totally right about all of these things. And like I was saying, I have been very, very disappointed in Mike Johnson. Now, I will get out there and say that I think, this is my opinion, right quick, I think Mike Johnson will make a good speaker for Donald Trump. That, no lie, that right, like, hey, go right ahead. If they want to vote him in, go right ahead. And the reason I say this is because, personally, I believe Mike Johnson is one of these people that, you know, you can pretty much push them into anything, right? He's not a leader, he's a follower, right? So, you know, when Democrats are in charge, they have the Senate and the presidency, he just gets pushed all over the place, goes over here, makes deals with Democrats. He doesn't want to get railed against by the mainstream news, blah, 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 blah. You get it, right? He's a follower, not a leader. Now, the reason I say he'll be okay as speaker is for that reason, right there. Now we're coming in. We got Trump back in the White House, and we got a majority in the Senate. He's going to be right there. He'll pass anything and everything Trump asks him to do. He's right there. He'll do it. No problem. Probably. Like, I can't say 100%, right? For sure. Because I'm not the guy. But it's almost a guarantee that he will do just about anything that Trump tells him to do within reason, right? So, for that reason, I think he'll be a decent Speaker of the House. Now, you want to get to the real reason. Check this out. This is what Chip Roy says.
Question, of course, is Mr. Johnson going to have the support to keep his role as Speaker? What do you think?
Well, good morning, Ashley, and Happy New Year to all the listeners and viewers out there.
Same to you.
Look, Victoria's a good friend, and Thomas is a good friend, and they raise reasonable concern. I remain undecided, as do a number of my colleagues, because we saw so many of the failures last year that we are concerned about that might limit or inhibit our ability to advance the president's agenda. I respect, like Thomas, that President Trump supports Mike. I like Mike. He's a good friend. But let's consider what happened the week before Christmas. We violated the 72-hour rule twice, which means we didn't have time to read a bill. We had to have Elon and Vivek and the president and JD come in to kill a 1,500-page monstrosity to cut it down to 100 pages. It still spent $110 billion unpaid for. And do my colleagues say, oh, but that's all just discretionary spending? We also passed $200 billion that is taking money out of Social Security to transfer it, which will hasten the bankruptcy of Social Security by 6 months. That was all the week before Christmas, Ashley. That's a problem. That's not how we should do business. We racked up $300 billion of additional deficit spending after the election. We spent $1.7 trillion last year with more Democrat votes than Republican votes. We gave another $61 billion to Ukraine. My friend Victoria, she's from Ukraine. She has a heart for the Ukrainians, but she understands giving $61 billion to Ukraine after Mike Johnson promised to secure the border first, that's a problem. So we need to have a plan before January 3rd. The speaker needs to speak to it if he wants to have all of our support.
Yeah, and I have to follow up at this point, Congressman. Does he have that support or not?
Yeah, right now I don't believe that he has the votes on Friday, and I think we need to have the conference get together so that we can get united. And people say, well, Chip, who would you choose otherwise? There are a lot of great members of Congress. Mike's a friend, and maybe he can answer the call and he can deliver an agenda and a plan. Byron Donalds is a good man and a good friend. I supported him. I nominated him 2 years ago. Jim Jordan's a good man and a good friend. There are other members of leadership in the conference who could do the job. But what we need to do is unite around a plan to deliver for the president. Right now, I do not believe the conference has that. The failure before Christmas, I cannot overstate, is a glimpse to come if we don't organize the conference to be able to deliver for the American people. We are not going to be able to bend on the things that matter. We must cut spending if you want inflation to go down and for people to afford to live in this country. We have to secure the border. We can't be going back and forth on that. We have to give the tools, Tom Homan, the president, Stephen Miller, to secure the border. And we've got to have the plans in place by Friday.
A lot to be decided, that's for sure. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us, and Happy New Year to you, sir.
And that, my friends, is one reason why I love Chip Roy. He tells it like it is, right? Mike Johnson has been one of the worst speakers. He's been really, really bad, like the most disappointing speaker ever. But once again, like I said, he's a follower. He's not a leader, and we do need leadership in the for the Speaker of the House. In other words, I almost couldn't get that out. You saw that? Yeah, that was crazy. But anyway, so we need a leader in that position. To be honest with you, but coming up, we'll have Trump. Trump will be the leader. So, pretty much the Speaker of the House, it doesn't matter at that point because Trump's the leader. Mike Johnson will follow what Trump says. So there you go. Right now, when we have opposition controlling the Senate or the White House or both, that's when we need a strong leader. Jim Jordan, I believe, would have made a really, really good Speaker of the House because he is somebody, he's not going to get pushed around by these pencil-pushing Democrats over here wanting to do this and spend this money and do all this, and you better, or we're going to shut the government down. Oh, it's going to be your fault if the government shuts down, blah, blah, blah. All this crap. We need somebody willing to push back against this. Like, no, we're going to pass the bill over here in the House. If you don't pass it, then it's your fault the government shuts down. We need somebody who's going to stand up. You've got the power of the purse. You have, $5.4 trillion of revenue to be able to push around. You can push around the largest institutions in this country because you can cut their funding just outright, just plain as day, with a stroke of a pen, a floor vote. You can cut the funding to the FBI, to the DOJ. You can secure the border. You can do just about anything you want to. The power of the purse. That's why I always say the House of Representatives, standalone, not Congress, the House of Representatives is the most powerful institution in this country because of that reason. They hold the strings to the purse. They say what money goes where. And if you have weak leadership in that at the head of that position, right, then you don't have anything at all. You just basically have a house of cards, and that's what we've been having over this past 2 years. It's been utter buffoonery, if you will, coming from Speaker Mike Johnson. And I completely understand why a lot of these congressmen, they just don't want to vote for the guy. He has not shown leadership. Why should they follow his lead when he's not a leader? He's a freaking follower, for crying out loud. But once again, like I said, it's a moot point because Trump's going to be the leader, so there you go. But we need to be looking outside of that, right? Trump's not going to be around forever. We're not always going to have a majority in the Senate, so we need somebody, get some young blood in there. Jim Jordan's not that old, right? Byron Donalds. I agree with Chip Roy. Byron would make a very, very good Speaker of the House. He's one of my favorites. He's one of the few that I say are actually good congressmen, right? Anna Paulina Luna, she has proven herself not to be a pushover. Right now, we haven't seen her in a leadership position, but we have seen Jim Jordan in a leadership position. He runs the Judiciary Committee, right? So we've seen what he can do in that Judiciary Committee, right? Him and, what's his name, on the Oversight Committee. Steve Scalise. Sorry, it took me a second. Steve Scalise. Now, I don't necessarily, Steve Scalise, I'll put it this way, he's not on that list. He's not on that list of good Republicans. I love what he's done on the Oversight Committee, but, his voting record, he votes with Democrats way too often on some garbage stuff, and I just don't like his voting record all that much. So he's not a favorite of mine, but he would be a good leader. I'll put it that way. He would make a decent leader, but I would be kind of iffy. We would have to see. That would be one of those things I would hold my vote out to see. But, if I was in Congress, I'm not sure if I would vote for Speaker Mike Johnson or not. It just depends on how many dissenters we have, right? Because if there's too many dissenters, then yeah, we might as well get somebody new in there and just let's forget Mike Johnson. It's whatever on that. But if you got one or two, yeah, look, I'll just convince them that way. Look, we got Trump as the leader. He's not a leader. Trump will lead Congress if it comes to that, but that's kind of crappy. That's almost a cop-out, if you will, but it is what it is. We do need to get a speaker in there, and honestly, we don't need to waste several days on this. You know what I mean? Like we did last time trying to find the speaker in the first place. We wasted, 2 weeks? Something like that, of floor vote after floor vote after floor vote. I think it was, 16 or 17 votes to get a speaker, right? Jim Jordan was in the running. I don't see why they did not vote Jim Jordan as Speaker of the House. That would have been one of the greatest, most epic speakers I could think of, right? Outside of Byron Donalds or Tim Burchett, for crying out loud. I say that. He's a good congressman, but I'm not sure if he's a good leader or not. But, I was kind of excited about Mike Johnson a little bit, but what a major disappointment. Well, but I think that's all I've got on this one, y'all. But I want y'all to let me know who y'all think a good Speaker of the House would be. Do y'all have somebody favorite in mind? Thomas Massie, maybe? Chip Roy? I would love Chip Roy. Man, as a matter of fact, I take that back. Chip Roy would make the best, right? But it would almost be guaranteed that nothing would get done. Nothing would get done whatsoever if Chip Roy was Speaker of the House, because nobody would agree with Chip Roy, because he would cut spending. He would cut everything back to what we make in revenue is what goes out, and that's it. No, there would be a zero deficit spending at all. His budgets, just take it back, send it back. You might as well not even write up a budget, because we don't have enough money to do this. It would be great, y'all, but y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.